Look at this. I cannot wait to spend the whole night with you in that position. That's going to be quite amazing, dear friends. Here they are, Ashlee and Richard. Dear friends, what is that for an opening? First and foremost, I want thumbs up how gorgeous, irresistible is Ashlee. And how charming is Richard with what a shirt.
Pasta.
Ooh la la. You love to roll the dough. Huh? Hey, can you believe two phenomenal ballet dancers with us today? And I know my mother is so excited watching as well. She's with us. And my daughters were into dancing. So how did you guys meet?
We actually met in ballet school.
Aha.
14 years ago, was it? It was 2007. And then we actually started dating the following year, 2008. And we've been together ever since.
So did you have a crush on her immediately?
I believe it was the reverse.
What? You got so lucky. It never happens to me that way.
I was a little bit more in shape back then, but yes, we.
Well, let's toast to that. You're going to tell us about this. Hey, dear friends, isn't it cool when the woman makes step one? This is true type A personality. So did you make the first move?
I believe I was definitely the first conversation starter. And at the time it was a predecessor to the iPhone. It was called the Prada phone. It was from Prada and it was one of the first touchscreen phones. So I was like, that's a really cool phone. The following year we started dating and he was like, I just don't remember you from last year. And I was like, do you remember that one day we were in the elevator and I was talking to you about your phone? He was like, that was you? I was like, thanks.
So Richard, what was so different about Ashlee then?
Well, I don't know. The next year we were actually in partnering class, so pas de deux, and that is when we actually formally met hands-on.
Yeah.
Was in partnering class.
Mm-hmm.
Literally.
Well,
literally.
I just need to tell everyone to make things clear. If I was in the elevator with Ashlee, I don't think I would ever forget the experience. Specifically if she did in the elevator what she did with you as we opened today. Was she climbing all around the elevator? I've seen some athletes do that too.
We actually learned all of our circus skills together. So we were professional ballet dancers. We moved to New York City in 2009. And then we met a couple of aerialists who also street performed and introduced us to circus, which we started doing recreationally. And we trained at the Circus Warehouse for about a year before we decided, hey, we actually want to take what we've learned in dance and kind of transcend that into an elevated version of
circus.
So I think it's brilliant. So let's go back though.
Yeah.
Because first we need to have a cheer and you need to look at him in the eye. If not, as you couple
we do.
them.
Always, always.
You know, it's 7 years of
if it's
bad performance. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So which is so cool, dear friends, the world of wine, and that's why we have a wine named Cabaret. Are you liking it, by the way?
It is very good.
Love it.
Yeah.
What does it make you think? Is it a pas de deux? Is it a pas de trois? Is it?
It reminds me
ballet
of sitting
dancing.
and watching Moulin Rouge and
in Paris, yeah. Yeah, the Moulin Rouge or Lido, it's a very well
It's
done.
my hangout, you know.
Oh,
absolutely.
Between that, you had Crazy Horse, and
Horse.
Paradis Latin, and Chez Michou. Those are the 5 places you can find me all the time in Paris.
We haven't.
Well, we'll get a list. We'll get a
Well,
complete
we'll go together.
Yeah, that would be
Yeah,
great.
that.
We would love that.
Much more fun. So you were professionally trained ballet dancers. I'd love for you to transcribe to everyone how astringent, how rigid, and how intense the training is. Because when we want to talk about discipline, there's nothing more difficult than ballet dancing, classical ballet, right?
Yes.
Your body is, your hips are not intended to turn out to 180 degrees on a regular basis all of the time, and then also do jumps to a level that most people will never be able to jump in a normal manner, and also do it gracefully and beautifully. So
I mean, it's the structure of every day. You're going in, you're seeing yourself in the mirror. you're analyzing your own body, you're within your own head, even though there's a teacher, there's other dancers, there's beautiful, there's beautiful people around you all the time, but you're so entrapped with yourself in the mirror. And it's how can I change that aesthetic? How can I
reach perfection even though you never
there
can,
is
but
no,
you can chase it?
It's working on yourself constantly.
We've had one performance, I can say as a duo.
Mm-hmm.
There's only been one performance in our life that I felt like was the perfect performance, and we'll never get that moment again. Maybe we will,
similar,
but it was so close. It was such an amazing experience.
Well, you've reached it. Congratulations.
Yeah.
But you say something so important. Looking at yourself in the mirror daily and working on yourself, that is a very demanding exercise psychologically. How do you deal with this enormous psychological tension within yourself? I mean, it's a Carl Jung psychological exercise. You don't need to read the 11 books to really realize how difficult psychologically it is. How do you face that?
I think a lot of it is time. And the interesting thing about working through the pandemic and going through these stages that we're all facing so many crazy things that are so far out of our control right now, that being able to go down and analyze what you are doing and how to benefit yourself is actually a really healing thing.
And everybody's seen it. I mean, everybody has now experienced what we experienced in a studio, which was time with yourself, time with your partners, your family, and that
sometimes
time,
it doesn't go so well.
Yeah.
But sometimes
it's beautiful.
Well, and you have, explain us the discipline you have to go through, because I think in life, to succeed, we all need enormous discipline. We could be having as much fun as we want, but there's a level of discipline we need to have. And for having had the chance to meet many professional dancers, I mean, it's enormous, the amount of pressure you put on yourself to achieve what you just demonstrated, even as we came in. And dear friends, stay with us. There's a lot of exciting moments we're going to live today. So give us an understanding of that.
I think it's the discipline of failure, because you always learn from failure.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily remember all the happy moments. You remember the struggling moments in your life. And those sometimes are the most beautiful memories that you have. It was around a struggle and you coming out of the struggle. And that's really what ballet is you're coming out of the struggle of your body. You're changing who you are physically, and you're getting over those mental hurdles of how can I progress to the next level.
So what is your most amazing memory that you're willing to share on that front? Because I'm sure you have plenty.
We do.
As classical ballet, and then we'll talk about what you've started together as your business, your households together, and all of the above. But maybe in the classical world you were in before.
I mean, my personal moment was meeting Baryshnikov and seeing him do a contemporary series. And that moment of seeing him where he had transitioned out of a classical moment into a more contemporary series, and it was more theatrical. That for me was an amazing experience, because I saw that there was transition, there was growth of not just ballet. That was my personal moment. So
the association of classical dancing with theater.
Yes.
What about for you, Ashlee?
I think we've always, I've kind of always reached for more than ballet. I didn't, when we moved to New York, I went and studied in American Ballet Theater for that summer, did their program as well as an extended program after that. And I always said to myself, the company is not actually what I want. I want to do something more than maybe even what exists. And I didn't know what that was until, as we trained, as we learned different aspects of Broadway, theater, immersive shows, like Sleep No More, like Cirque du Soleil, these things started to realize in my mind where I said, this is what I want. And it didn't exist before. So
Wow.
I think
Created the unexisted.
yes.
So you worked at Cirque du Soleil for some time as well. So maybe share as we taste a little more wine, because you know we want to get more wine in those beautiful bodies, right? We want the rhythm of the bubbles to start to ooh la la. So Cirque du Soleil must have been pretty amazing, right?
Yeah, we did Cirque du Soleil's Broadway show, Paramore. And then we also did events for Cirque du Soleil, which I think was a more enriching experience than the traditional show. Is
Yeah.
going around and doing the events, which you were being different characters from some of those shows, but you were also experiencing immersive mixed with show.
Mm.
And it was almost an experimentation of what you can do as far as, okay, in one event, this was a sit-down dinner experience where they took people on a sensory overload,
Ooh.
taste,
Something we
smell,
should do.
scent,
Taste.
absolutely, and be able to figure out as a character and as a performer, how do I best formulate my performance to accentuate what's around me and how to make this world my own in a matter of a very short amount of time. You go into a Cirque du Soleil show and you have a period of training in for it, and you have this role and you do it, and there's a script, loose script with most of it.
And you interact with the
Paramore
crowd.
was different.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yes. So-
And that's what you really like.
Yeah. It's the personal moments, so it's the
Yeah.
connection to an audience, being closer to the people and not so far away. And I think doing the events that we did, that was the highlight, is being so close. And it opened up a different world, a different mindset to us. I mean, when we went up to Montreal to train, which we'll go over later, we kind of went to this minimalist surrealism state where that is what we aspire to. You think of a good dolly,
Yes.
and that is what we aspire to invoke in the mind.
I love it. And then that inspired you to create something together. So tell us about, obviously Ashlee and Richard, which is your company. So all of us can actually call our friends now, and they put together an amazing performance. And that's the cool thing. So you integrate circus with ballet, with all kinds of different things. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So we took our ballet training and we then trained with, I guess it's French national champions.
Some
Essentially
amazing
learned
people.
like
Amazing
high-level
people.
acrobatics, duo high-level acrobatics, and we combined the two. And so as a duo, Richard and Ashlee, we have our acrobatic ballet, which I stand on him on point.
Isn't it great to have your wife stand on you and walk on you on point at all
On
times?
like $50.
He actually has a spot, especially his left shoulder, where he has no feeling anymore because it's completely...
Well, as long as it's only there, not
It's
somewhere
there.
else.
Right.
Did I say that? We want to make sure everything works perfectly, right? So, because as she stands up, she always
Yeah.
goes in that point.
the repetitive
And she's very
nature
light,
of it.
though.
Yes. So we went from New York. We took time. We went to Montreal. We trained right across the street from Cirque du Soleil in one of their buildings with coaches from the Cirque du Soleil and ENC, which is the national school in Canada for circus. And our coaches were amazing to us. We actually lived in both of our mentor and our coaches' basements, and they taught us everything they know.
That's the best way. You live with
And
them.
it was
You got to see it all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We started with Cirque du Soleil, and then we, our other coach and mentor is one of the directors of Les Sept Pas de la Main, which is like Seven
Yeah.
Fingers, and they did Pippin on Broadway, and Traces, you may recognize them. They tour France and they tour the US, Canada. And they were actually a company that split off from Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah.
however many years ago, and they're fantastic. It's just been a really cool thing to be able to take these two very different yet very similar worlds of
Yes.
ballet as an art form and circus as an art form, and be able to
Combine them.
combine
I mean,
them.
we combined them, and then we had the U.S. culture, and then we had French coaches
Yeah.
in
I'm sorry for that.
Quebec.
No, we love it.
And it's just, there's so much we learned about the other culture that
So what do you learn the most, and I've never asked that question on our show, between the French culture and the American culture?
tartiflette.
Well, that's not good for your ladies.
We actually joke that we're kind of just like French people, like in the U.S.
In
at
the
this
US.
point,
Because they're
We
tough.
just
I
go
can
to-
imagine
Oh yeah.
in your field of
we're not
circus,
French people. Everyone is French.
they're very
Like,
disciplined.
They are.
right? They're very ruthless in terms of the training, I'm sure,
Yes,
right?
yeah. They're very, we were on a 10 to 10 scale, so you have to do it 10 times for 10 days in a row, or else you have to go back in the lines or like keep practicing. So you couldn't do it on your own until you hit 10 days, 10 times in a row each day, that skill. So every skill you see us do
Wow.
is something that we've done the 10 to 10 scale.
God, I'm going to start to apply that, then I won't create much. That's amazing. In order to perfect
Yes.
that special move, that special...
And creating is the most important part of that, though, because if you're creating something, then it's that technical just adjustment where, oh, too much this time, too little this time, and it starts to, over time, with just the repetition, find that perfect spot. And that's, at least for acrobatics, is the safety point where you really have to prove that it's safe. Otherwise, we've seen so many people where you go, oh, that's not.
It's like
It
a
can
bad
get
wine.
iffy. Ballet, you're on the floor too high and throwing people in the air. There's a little bit more danger involved.
So was the Franco-American culture a good thing? The combination of both?
Yes,
I
yes.
think so.
Are the French good in circus in that sense?
Oh,
of
yeah.
Acrobatic circus. I
Yes.
mean.
Beautiful.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And Quebec, especially, it's
Of course.
It's
Well, La Liberté did it.
yeah,
Oh,
it's
yes,
the circus
From the
capital of
streets
Now
to
he's a
starting.
DJ, and
Yeah,
I want
now
to go
he's
to
a DJ.
And he buys our wine, so I'm very excited about that. I met him in Burgundy. This was when it happened in one of our estates. So now, dear friends, we're going to try a little Cabernet. And we're going to see if Cabernet inspires you to do in the Crystal Cellar at some stage tonight, something, dear friends, that you may see as you've never seen before. So this is made by Stephanie Putnam, another great lady in the world of wine. And this is from Santa Lina, where we are today. So tell me what this wine inspires you. The bells of love. And you could take your time. Maybe you tell us about the Guinness records in between, because I understand you have...
I don't know why, but chocolate came to my mind.
Chocolate! We love it! Well,
Just
we'll
the
have
perfect
some
pair.
shortly then.
Our Guinness Book World Record we actually got when we were with Paramore on Broadway with Cirque du
Yes.
Soleil,
Yes.
and we did the longest duration of point on shoulders, and that was an amazing experience in itself. So many people afterwards reached out to us. We were just like, we're gonna do this Guinness Book record because they came to us, and
So what was the record about? Tell us.
it's point on shoulders
Yes.
for the longest duration of time.
How long did you last?
Up there. For something?
50 something.
4 hours and 15
No.
4 minutes.
I'm joking. Can you imagine? 4.5
Because
minutes.
my arms are out, she's on point.
Yeah, no. I'm teasing you. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Balancing. And
So you want to make sure she never gains weight, really. Because that pressure is quite intense, right?
I'm also very tall for what I do. And I think
Yes.
that's hard because I speak to other flyers, acrobatic flyers, and they come up to here on me and they're about like 4'11", and I'm 5'7". I'm very
Yes.
tall, so I think that's what makes us really unique to watch as well.
Because
that we're
it's a
similar
balance.
statures.
That's right.
It's a balance.
So what would be, besides Oyo's great achievement that you have had, your dream as the ultimate performance you would want to create? If we outline it to all our friends around the world, what would that be together as Richard and Ashlee company that everybody can call? And what would you want to communicate?
We always have a message, whether you see it or not. We always have a message in every single performance we do. So we always have a message.
And what would be the ultimate? What's a good message you give presently that we can all see on your Facebook? And then what would you like to communicate?
Our performance often is story centric, and I think that's really important when you're doing things that are really incredible and people can't necessarily relate to it, but they can relate to the relationship that is happening on stage. We're better known for one of our performances that is kind of like domestic violence centric.
Oh,
because it really hits
Here we go.
this home where people watch and it's like, I've been there. And when you incorporate real skills into it, it just elevates the experience.
So you go on deep stories.
We go deep
Very
stories.
People can either
intense and heavy.
people can go that way. They can see it that way if they
Elegant,
want.
of course. It's not like
everything's lifted.
He doesn't
Like
take
one.
this bottle necessarily and just attack you with it.
No.
no.
That would be too dangerous.
It's the movement. It's
Yeah.
the
It's the
movement.
movement.
It's
Sure.
the movement quality. It's the movement. And there's the undertones of it. And then we
And
also
it's
have
sexy.
it's sexy. We have the uplifting.
Yes.
We have the happier moments, the
Our
performance
bottle
is,
walking performance is
it's just like a good bubble that just it comes
more angelic.
Yes.
Is a different performance. I think as far as our like throw
Yes.
the dream into the wind kind of thing
Are we
would
gonna
be to take our what? Yeah.
the platform.
Yes.
The-
So
the-
essentially take some of what we've already created as far as like the best of what our duo performance has to offer, and incorporate it with bottle walking that becomes elevated and swings.
Ooh.
So
It would be a platform, a clear see-through platform, and she's
right, where did
doing-
you get this made? Because
Well, we can arrange it. And if you want to get on the platform, you're welcome.
She's doing point on bottles
Wow.
on a platform that would go about 30 feet in the air and swing. So that is the
So maybe we show you a hint of this in the crystal cellar now. Are we ready for a little straw?
yeah.
Let's go, let's go. Well, what a performance! Ooh la la! Now that you've seen and felt where the wine is made, what do you think? I know it feels like chocolate, but what else can you sense? Or what else do you want to create with this wine in your body?
There's a tart cherry note that I love. Like the fruit in this is beautiful, and I feel like it would pair so nicely with
Any performance.
What music would you want to have with that wine? If you think music, would it be classical? Would it be modern? Would it be medieval? Would it be purely classical ballet music? It's very central, isn't it?
classical with a beat.
Classical with a beat. I love that. So what inspires the both of you? For that question, I'm going to refill
That's
you.
Good this is
The surroundings and the people we meet along our journey. So we've traveled a lot for performing. We've done some amazing events. We've done some terrible events. But it's the people.
there's a wide
Happens
range.
to all of us.
But-
if everything was perfection, I think we would be ascending like God, right?
But it's the people we meet along the way. It's people like you. It's people that
Thank you.
it's just introducing us to
100%.
other people and what they do and seeing a craft. I mean, I have a guy who makes umbrellas. That's all he does in Paris. We have another lady who makes hats. She makes them for the Moulin Rouge. She
That
makes
calls
them
for a
Disney.
great show.
And it's you meet all these creators along the way. A winemaker. It's those are the people who make up your day-to-day life, and you may not think about it, but I'm always thinking about those people who inspire me
Yes.
to do something different, to do something just as inspiring to them.
And what is the most inspirational moment you've had that helped you to create something special? Do you want to share that for us? The thing that made you do something that was reaching perfection, maybe, I don't know. They're looking at each other with love. There's a lot of vibration.
That's a loaded
It's
question.
such a loaded question.
Well, and you don't have to
I
answer
don't,
it
I
at
don't,
all.
I don't think I have an answer quite yet.
Is it her beautiful eyes?
I have more life to live.
I love that. So, what is your passion both when it's not about talking ballet, dancing, circus, and all that?
He loves to cook.
I love cooking.
He loves cooking.
Pasta, of course.
Not much
Actually,
pasta.
not
Calinoni.
much pasta. Not much pasta. I mean, I think we love to travel and everything.
Our job is it's what allows us to do everything. So that is the passion. It's art. I mean, there's so much art in the performance world. So it's seeing beautiful pieces of art where we could be performing at the MoMA.
Yes.
And we could be in a dressing room that's around beautiful art. I mean, that's happened. That's a real story where it's like you're around art that not everybody would see that's in a boardroom.
I think what's inspiring is the day-to-day as well of just being like, that crazy thing I saw in the subway. Or, I can't believe this happened. It's almost like the melding of the stories of life, that it's a communal feeling that you get. And I don't know if I keep thinking about that, what's that one moment of inspiration? And
It's not one, it's many.
I don't know if it's just us bouncing things off of each other, like things that we really like that we seem to always be on the same artistic
It could be a
direction.
guy.
That's
I don't know.
impressive
I
that
don't
you
know.
both
It's
always
good.
on
It's
the
good.
same
It's a good
artistic
thing.
page.
Generally.
Yeah, generally
Which is
we take inspiration. I mean, it could be the little thing within the day. It could be some guy digging a trench.
Well, we need to, by the way, have a toast for our friend Nicole, who was so sweet to introduce us. So let's have a toast for her, because
Absolutely.
what a phenomenal lady to allow us to meet today and to be together. And now, what I'd like for both of you to do independently is to send a message. And for the last 45 minutes has been amazing, and the performance. We cannot wait to have you come and perform. So I'm going to have a request one day that you come back and we do
amazing.
a show together at our wineries. You'll choose which one, or all of them if you want. And we create invitations for a lot of the guests who are watching and with us today, so we can have an amazing time.
Yeah.
Is it a deal?
That's
That's
a
a deal.
We have them on film for that. Hey, it would be amazing. So if you could think about wine in addition to the bottles you walk on and the levitation you're in space, to what could we do together, that would be really fun. To bring the world of wine and ballet and art together would be really a treat.
That would be amazing.
So they'll be thinking. So now maybe the ultimate message to the camera, to all our friends around the world, after the last 20 months we've lived, but even more importantly about the lessons of life, being a top athlete, as you both are, holding a Guinness record together, which is a big deal. I mean, you've overachieved in some areas, of course, and being such phenomenal creators, artists, and inspiring all of us and your bodies to go beyond where it thinks it can go. So maybe any message you want to send us.
I have a good one. Whether you're imbibing or teetotaling today, remember that everything in life comes with balance. Wine, acrobatics, and you yourself. And just remember that the better you treat yourself, the better you will treat yourself.
Very well said. Balance. Ooh, I love that.
I cannot beat that.
Well,
With that.
Richard, anything you wish to say? Or you can echo it.
Oh, it's the life of balance. It's like a scale, you know. You always want the balance, but one side's always going to be just, it could be a gram, it could be a microgram. It's always going to be a little bit heavier on one side. So it's taking the balance of life and finding your medium.
Wow. Great lessons of life today. I'm shivering of excitement, and I will learn how to be more precise and maybe be more balanced. So, dear friends, thank you so much. What a
Thank
day!
you for having us. This has
And
been so
all
wonderful.
of you from all around the world, make
Oh, I
sure
didn't
you
look. Wait,
remember.
wait.
Yes! 7 years of bad activities. You will be invited soon for our friends, Ashlee and Richard, to come and perform in the wine country. But in the meantime, you'll see in the chat all their information so you can get hold of them and have them perform. They're amazing. Cheers!
Cheers.
Cheers.